Hello everyone, Mr. K here again. We're going to talk about drilling and tapping today. And sounds pretty simple, but hopefully show you a couple new things, make your life a little easier, maybe save you some money. So if you don't know what drilling and tapping is, drilling just be drilling a hole in a piece of metal is for our purposes today. Then tapping would be cutting threads into that piece of metal so that you can put a bolt in there. All right. So we're going to talk about, we're going to be drilling feeds and speeds. If you don't know what those are, not a problem. Types of drill bits and taps and dies. So when we talk about feeds and speeds, what you're going to notice here, this is just a quick chart I threw up here. What you're going to notice as a general rule is that for harder material or larger diameter holes, you need to slow the speed down. Okay, so let's look. Let's see, if we take this same material, maybe let's take something that we know pretty well, cast iron. Okay, cast iron, and for an 1/8 inch hole, it's calling for about 2100 RPM. For a 1/2 inch hole, it's calling for about a quarter of that. Okay, 535 revolutions per minute is the speed you want to spin the drill bit. Okay, big difference there. Also notice if you go from, let's go from tool steel, which is very hard steel, with a 1/2 inch hole, down to aluminum 1/2 inch hole, we're going from 382 RPM to 1900 RPM. So we're really speeding it up for a softer material. Okay, so again, soft material or smaller holes, faster speed. So that is going to be a test question. Make sure you remember that rule. Okay, you can really just remember one of them if you want, and then when you're trying to think of the opposite, just think about the opposite. But so harder material, larger diameter holes, slow the speed down. All right, feed rate. We just talked about speeds. Let's talk about feed. Okay, feed rate is how hard you're pushing the drill bit into the material while you're drilling, or how fast the drill bit's being pushed down. What happened here? Too fast or too slow of feed rate? Too fast, too much feed, you put too much pressure on the bit, it's going to snap. It's going to dig into the material too aggressively. It's going to grab too aggressively, and it's going to snap right off. By the way, when you do this, if you've never done this before, if you're drilling a hole in something and you do this, you are out of luck. You've got a big problem, because if it snaps off like that, a lot of times it'll be down in the hole and you can't drill through a drill bit because it is such hard material. Same thing if you go too slow or too light on the feed, you end up with dulling the bit. You may not snap it, but you're going to dull it. You're going to overheat it and lose the temper as well. Okay, so too little feed. At this point in time, go ahead and pause the video and watch this video down here. Punch this into your browser or type this in on YouTube, 3 ways to drill stainless steel. Okay, you should have just watched that video, 3 ways to drill stainless steel, and show you a little bit about feeds and speeds. Okay, different drill bit designs. What type of drill bit is this? This is the most common. This is what you're probably everyone watching this video has used at some point in their life or has seen used. That's just a twist bit. Okay, most common. If you go into a hardware store and you say I need to buy a 3/8 drill bit, this is probably what they're going to hand you. How about this one? I'll give you a hint here. It starts small and it steps the size up. How about a step drill? Okay, or step drill bit. Okay, these are pretty cool too. If you've never used one of these before, I highly recommend you buy one, leave it in your toolbox. You can drill all kinds of sizes of holes and you don't have to change your bit at all. So very useful. Not really that precision, you know, I mean, whether you drill a 1/2 inch hole or a 7/8 hole, kind of hard to control sometimes. If you push a little too hard, you can jump to the next size. So see this, you can jump to the next size if you push a little too hard, too much feed. However, extremely useful. That is another kind of step drill or unibit. Okay, brad point bit. Okay, this is also used, these are used for, people use them in wood a lot, but they're also used in steel applications. That tiny point there helps start the bit so it doesn't walk around, and then once it gets to the larger point, then it drills the size of the hole. These are pretty useful. I love these bits, but they're kind of hard to sharpen, or you're not able to sharpen them. Consumer isn't. How about this one? Not typically used for steel, but since we're talking about drill bits, we're going to talk about it today. Spade bit. Okay, now we talked about types of drill bits. Now we're on to drill bit materials, what they're made of. And these are just some examples. There's more out there. What is the most common one out there? Again, if you walk into a hardware store and say, I need a 3/8 drill bit, what are they going to hand you? They're probably going to hand you a high-speed steel bit. And one way you can know that it's high-speed steel is if you look at the shaft or the shank on these bits where it goes into the chuck of the drill, you actually see a small marking that says HSS, high-speed steel. Okay. Cobalt steel, sometimes you'll see CS. And let me tell you, you get what you pay for in drill bits. Let me show you an example. These are current prices at Menards. Okay. 21-piece Bosch drill bit set for 33 bucks. Doesn't seem terrible, right? Not bad. How about a 230-piece drill bit for $25? Okay. Let's rewind in case you didn't catch that. Okay, 230 pieces for 25 bucks. 21 pieces for $33. Okay, huge price difference, right? Well, let me tell you, there's a huge quality difference. I happen to own both of these sets, and this set here, I could almost take it and throw it out the window. Very few of these bits are actually decent. So some of them I've pulled out of here. They're dull from the factory. Some of them I go to use them, they snap as I'm just starting to push down to drill. So you get what you pay for in drill bits, let me tell you. Can you sharpen bits? Or is that something you have to send them back to the factory to do? Yes, you can sharpen them. There's something called a Drill Doctor. It's a bit sharpening machine you can buy at Menards, Lowe's, whatever it may be. You're going to pay probably about 60 bucks or more for one. I've used them. I'm not a huge fan of them. I just don't think they work that well compared to sharpening by hand. So been sharpening by hand for many years. Works great. It does take a little bit of finesse. It does take a little bit of practice to get it right. But once you get it right, you can take a drill bit and sharpen it over and over and over again. So there's a way to do it on the bench grinder. At this point in time, go ahead and pause my video and punch this into YouTube, or you can search how to sharpen a drill bit quickly and easily, and you'll see how it's done on a bench grinder. Okay, you should have just paused the video and watched that. We're going to roll on. Talk about tapping the hole. And instead of listening to me, I'm going to let you listen to someone else for 3 minutes. So go ahead and punch that one into your browser. How to drill and tap a hole in 3 minutes is the title. Okay, you should have just watched that, how to drill and tap a hole in 3 minutes, and that pretty much gave you the rundown. And one thing that he didn't talk about much in the video is how do you know what size drill bit to use? Okay, well, that depends on what size tap you're going to use. So you need to figure out first what size tap you need. Let's say you need a 1/4-20 tap. So you go to this chart, 1/4-20, and it's going to tell you need a number 7 drill bit. Or if your drill bits aren't numbered and you want to use decimals, you need a 0.201 decimal size drill bit. Or if you're using metric drill bits, they've even got that for you too, right? You can do 5.1 millimeter. Okay, but that's the drill bit size you need to use. And did you notice back in that video, when he drilled the hole before he tapped, he didn't just drill the size hole that he needed. He started small and he worked his way up. That's because if you just start, let me go forward. Let's say we need a really big hole, like a 1/2 inch 13 tap. And so we need a 27/64 hole. If you just take a 27/64 bit and put it in your drill and start drilling, you're going to end up probably snapping that bit off. It's cutting way too much out of the metal at once. You've got to step it up to that. Okay, you can drill what's called a pilot hole. Start with maybe a number 26, then jump to maybe a 5/16 bit. Then you can go up to whatever size bit you need after that. Okay, 27/64. But don't just start at the top, at the actual size you need. unless the size you need is just a small one anyway, but otherwise you got to step it up. Okay, if you're doing metric threads, don't worry, there's charts for that too. You can just Google it. You can just Google tapping drill size or tapping drill chart, and you'll come up with these. Okay, let's say you want to drill a M10 by 1, pretty common fastener. There's a drill size, 9 millimeter. Okay. Okay, at this point in time, go ahead and complete your assignment on drilling and tapping. Thank you, and have a good day.